Hi everyone, we are very excited here at the Osage Design Lab to have a speaker today, and we're also excited to have people from around our school zooming in for today's speaker. And she is part of our own Osage family, and she's going to be speaking to you about her son and about an organization that she supports and that we will be supporting on March 13th on our Community Awareness Day. So we ask if you're wearing a blue bandana on March 13th, you will be representing Mrs. Putman's organization. So she's here to tell us all about it. Yay! Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, thank you so much to everybody in here for listening, and everybody that zoomed in too, because I know how precious your classroom time is. So my name is Mrs. Putman, and I've been teaching here for about 16 years, and 5.5 years ago I had a boy, Evan, and he is the light of our life and continues to be. About 9 months after he was born, he had pretty typical development up until he was about 9 months, and then he started to have some major digestive issues. He was pretty much vomiting everywhere all the time, and we couldn't figure out why. So we took him to doctor, and nobody could figure it out. And then finally, one doctor suggested that we go to a genetic doctor, and I had no idea why they would be suggesting something like that, but lo and behold, we went to the genetic doctor, and they looked at all these characteristics that our son was having, and they diagnosed him with Williams syndrome. And I had no idea. I'd been teaching for 11 years at the time, and I had never heard of it. Nobody in my family had ever heard of it. I imagine that before you all met me, you had not heard of it. It's very rare. It only occurs in 1 in 10,000 individuals, approximately. And it's a chromosomal disorder, which means, okay, and you can look up all the genetics. I know a lot of you would probably love to read about it and look at the DNA and really get to understand it. But basically, it's a chromosomal abnormality that happens at conception, and it's not something that the mom or dad do wrong. It doesn't mean that I didn't eat right when I was pregnant. It doesn't mean that I ate too much peanut butter. It doesn't mean that I didn't sleep on the right side or anything like that. It's just something that kind of happens. It's like a blip that just happens during pregnancy, and there's nothing that you can do to prevent it, and so that's what a chromosomal abnormality is. Kind of the same thing that Mrs. D talked about last week with her son, except that her son actually happens to have a duplication, which means he has extra genes. Our son has a deletion. So you have about 20,000 genes in your body, approximately, okay, give or take, 1,000 or 2. And he is only missing 28. Okay, so that's crazy to imagine that you have 20,000 genes and he's only missing 28 genes. And but the thing that's so interesting is that those genes that he's missing cause a lot of different things to make things difficult for him, but they also cause a lot of things to be very unique, interesting, and amazing for him as well. And that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about. If you want to bring up his picture, if you want to go the picture of him on the beach. There he is. Oh, there he is. So he's 5 years old. Yeah, you don't have to see me now. You can just have that up if you want to. And they can all hear me. Nobody's chatting and telling me they can't hear me. Okay. Okay. So he's 5.5 years old. He's just like you guys were at 5 years old. He's in kindergarten. He's super duper happy. He can talk. He can walk. However, he does have developmental delays, which just means that his development is not happening at the same rate as other 5-year-olds. So he can talk, but he's not talking quite as quickly. He's not learning his language quite as quickly. It's really, really difficult for him to understand the language of math. I have a feeling that a lot of you in here are probably math whizzes. He will probably never be a math whiz. It's just something, those missing genes just make it really hard for him to learn math, and other individuals with Williams syndrome as well. And the other really cool thing, and I'm going to show you a really short video too about him, is that he has an incredible love and passion for music. He loves, 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 loves music. He loves to hear it. He loves to sing it. He loves to be around it. He loves to have it on in the background. You know, if he comes home from school and he's had a really bad day, I put music on and his entire body changes. And individuals with Williams syndrome, for whatever reason, those missing genes, which is so weird that they're missing genes that actually cause this love of music to happen, it's pretty much across the board. You are not going to meet a person with Williams syndrome, whether or not they're a baby, or they're 30 years old, or they're 40 years old, that don't love music. And their faces light up when they hear it. Some of them have what you would call savant abilities with music, where they can play piano when they're super young. They can listen to a song and they can immediately play it. But it's more common that they just love music. And they also feel the music emotionally. My son and a lot of other kids with Williams syndrome will hear things like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star or Happy Birthday, and it'll cause them to break into tears. And it'll be very confusing to other children because they'll be excited and singing Happy Birthday, and there's my son in the corner and he's crying. And it's not so much that he's upset about it being a Happy Birthday song, but it's more just that the music, something about that song makes him cry. So if you want to bring up the video, it's a really short one. You'll see my daughter in it too. It's the Happy Birthday Aunt Ski. Aunt Ski is my best friend in Florida. Her last name is Skibicki. Yeah, yep. Hopefully there's no ad.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Esky. Happy birthday to you. Oh, honey. And any more? Any more? What do you want to say to Aunt Ski? I love you, Aunt Ski. See you later. See you later, and say, who do you want to see? Sonny the bird. Say, we love to see Sonny the bird. We love you. Say bye-bye, see you later. Bye-bye, see you later.
He's like trying to catch his breath.
Because he was crying?
Yes, yes, yes. You can stop it.
Making me cry.
Sorry. I didn't know if it was going to keep going on and on.
It's going on.
Yeah. He was talking about Sunny the bird because she has a bird that he loves listening to. But anyway, you can see that. And you see how I was surprised by it. You never know when it's going to happen. So I want to show you a video. For those of you that are Zooming, it's about 9 minutes long, but it's a fantastic video that really, really captures the heart of Williams syndrome, the difficulties of Williams syndrome, but also the amazing, unique abilities of Williams syndrome as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything I wanted to say before that. I just wanted to say, too, that if I forget to say this at the end, I was talking to Mrs. Strain about this earlier. Can you put it on me so they can see me?
Start to share on.
Not that I think you want to see me, but I think you probably pay attention better. I just wanted to say that the reason why awareness is so important and why I need you guys to know about this, because it's extremely rare. It is not something you can catch. It is not a disease. It is not an illness that you can get from somebody else. So it's not something that you have to necessarily worry about. But the reason why awareness is so important is because let's say you go home and you say to your mom or dad, wow, I learned about Williams syndrome today. It's really interesting. I bet they're probably going to say to you, oh, I don't know what that is. Maybe they'll spend a little time Googling it and reading about it. And then maybe a couple of weeks later, somebody in your family or maybe a friend of theirs at work says, I know somebody who had a baby who had some heart issues. And you know what else? They had heart issues and they also had the same pretty blue eyes that other little boy I saw on the website has. And then that child might be diagnosed earlier because you told your mom or dad, or because you told your friend at Girl Scouts, or because you told your friend at soccer practice, okay? And the more people that can be diagnosed earlier, the healthier and longer their lives will be. Okay, because there are a lot of different things that have to happen. They have to get intervention early, which means early therapies. I know Mrs. D talked about that, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and also just really good doctors, because there's a lot of medical problems that go along with it as well. So you might not think it's a big deal, but just by you talking to a few people about it, Okay, that's why I wear the shirts all the time, and I'm out, even if I don't have Evan with me, I wear all this stuff so that people will ask me questions, okay? Because really amazing things can happen just by spreading awareness a little bit.
And it was a Christmas concert, and there was a little girl sitting in front of me. I didn't see her face, but she was moving all around and moving to the music and clapping and singing and crying. And her mom turned around and apologized to me for her behavior. And I said, does she have Williams syndrome? And her mom, basically, her jaw dropped and she just was overwhelmed with joy that I knew why her child was moving around so much. Don't worry about it. I said, don't worry about it. And she knew you. It's a family that is in the area of the child. But the mom was so relieved and so overjoyed that I knew that her daughter had this syndrome. And I never even saw her face. I could just tell how she was moving. So and to increase that awareness also increases the acceptance of individuals with Williams syndrome.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. All right, you can put on the video.